All right, fellas, it's that time of year again over here at Arch's Garage, Arch's compound. So I love to show this machine because it's been really good to me, the Honda HRX 217. So it's October, and as you see here, we got walnuts down, we've got tons of pine needles. We just had a storm, a nor'easter this past weekend, and so it's a few days later. And I've been having problems with this thing, and it's back to the same issue that you'll see that's in the title. It's the rear wheels, the rear drive system. Eventually, they start to get stuck, and this is an older machine now. So we're going to go through a quick operation on how to clean this up, lubricate it, get the junk out of the way, and just put it back into service because I need it, as you can see. And eventually, the leaves will start falling, and then I'll have a really big mess. And with the walnuts and everything, I've got a lot of machines back there to move around over the next, month or so, and the next couple of days and weeks. And so it's almost impossible to walk. I mean, you'll break your ankle, you go to move a machine, it gets locked up. It's a nightmare. This happens periodically. It's happening more frequently now. And one of the fellows that asked me, Arch, is there a way to service the actual transmission itself? Like, can you get in there and open it up and replace the fluid or whatever's in there? I don't know. I've never done that. And it's going to come down to it. Now, I can't do that on this episode. That's a great idea. I really want to do that. What happens is your first thing you'll start to notice is that if you do adjust the adjusters over here, you'll notice that they don't want to go. And I do adjust this periodically throughout the season. At the beginning of the year, we're locked down as low as we can go, and because there's not much grass and you want to cut tight and clean up all the debris from the winter as best as possible. And then as the lawn starts to really grow in the spring and all that water, where I am, you got to start bringing it up, and then you got to start bringing it down again. And then the next thing you know is that you can adjust the adjusters very well. And then, like a couple of weeks back, I couldn't pull the thing backwards. And it's all the junk that gets in. And so also this thing gets really dirty. Now what you're seeing right now is actually pretty good, because I gave it a rinse a few weeks back, just with the hose to clear some of the debris and the debris underneath, because it was really bad. And when we just came through our dry season, and this is sand, it's on an island, so a lot of sand, a lot of silt, a lot of very fine dust, and that gets into everything. The shaft is going through this bearing stack on either side, and that's part of the adjuster. And these bearing stacks and everything, adjuster stacks, and the shaft, eventually that dirt just works its way in. You have to lubricate it to get it to free up, which can encourage more dirt. And also, I'm guessing that some of these shafts were probably plated. They could have been nickel plated or zinc plated. I doubt nickel. It's usually a zinc or it's an anodize. And that wears off. I mean, this is an old machine now, and it really needs to come apart. We can't do that. Let me show you what we're going to do. Let's get started. You see what I mean? So you see, I know it's a little dark over here, but these shafts, they start to get rusty. That's why another reason why you can't even get them apart. But all the junk gets up in there, and even though there's seals and everything, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to purge that first with the hose. I already hit this with the hose once. It's not that bad. It really isn't. But we'll hit it again, and I'll throw a little super clean on the top. We could take these blades off. They're pretty sharp. Like I said, these are the mulching packs. They're pretty good. We could pull them off and give them a quick sharp while we're here. But yeah, and now that, of course, that rust is on the outside. There are some seals. I don't know what's left of them, but you can replace all of that when you go to get it apart. Hit super clean on this, but once I get it down on all fours, I want to take the rear wheels off. So we'll just kind of get through all of this quick. All right, now we're going to start off with, you can take all this off, and you can see here we've got our washers. We'll remove those for now. We'll wipe all that out, but we're going to start off with some penetrant lube, this transmission sauce, and we're going to just keep working it until it gets in there. I'll bring you in close, but it's got to get in. And it just gets jammed now. Apart from taking all this apart, which I have done, I did this a few years ago. I took this section off. So that was a few years ago. Let me do the other side. Come back and do it again. Because we want to flush it as best as we can. The other side's working better, but this handle's a little bit bent in the wrong direction on the other side. And we can't really fix that unless we, until we take it apart. That's getting better. I want to spin it backwards, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. They're sticky, and we're going to get, you could get some grease in there, but we can get some chain lube and some chain wax in there and move it around. These tires are not really expensive, and so the bearings aren't expensive either, but you'd have to take them apart, knock them out, and clean them up. We could do that, but again, this is a quick maintenance, and it's not terrible. Wipe both of them up. See, this one's starting to crack. I see cracks in there. So new wheels and new bearings at least for the back at some point in the future. I'll take some high pressure air and just sort of blow in this area here. Try to get out as much junk. Now, people say don't use grease, but you have to use a lubricant. And what grease does, most people don't realize, grease has the ability to hold dirt away from the surfaces, and it can suspend it for a period of time. Whereas if it's something is too thin, like a thin plate, a dry lube, which is very thin, that's lubricant, but it cannot suspend dirt. So the dirt molecules will be bigger than the thin lubricant, and they'll wear the shaft. They'll wear the bearing surfaces. It'll wear. Whereas the grease does not. Grease slows that process. I mean, eventually that's going to happen. Do the other side. I just keep doing this. You can take all this apart, but that's a lot more work. We'll get in there with a screwdriver or something. We'll get when we're done. You can even rinse it when you're done. You can rinse it with the hose and get off any excess lube because we'll be protected. Now I'll go on the other side. Now hold on, one more thing. I need to get more of the croil. We got a little bit left. We're going to get the croil in here now. So we're going to stop using my tranny sauce because that's to flush it and get some lube in. All right, I want to get the other side, blow that out, do the same thing again. Oh yeah, it's getting better. Oh yeah. And it's easier to move this now. So that's all we can really do. I'll do this a couple more times. We'll do the other side. We'll get it blown out, and then we'll try and put in some lubricant. Actual lubricant. It's a service. It's not a real solution. And then we might follow up with a little bit of chain wax. And I'm going to do one side at a time, let that settle in. We'll wipe it when we're done. And this will dry it up a little bit. That's a lot. All right, let that set up for a little bit. All right, we're almost there. So I got my chain wax all up in there to dry it off, and I got chain lube and chain wax in here as well. I'm blowing it out and wiping it out. All right, it's nasty, but we want to get some of the gook out in the water. So that chain wax will help dry a lot of this in about half an hour or so. I'm gonna wipe these out, get everything wiped out, or then we'll clean up some of the hardware. We'll come back, we'll put dollops of grease on all of that, And we'll put it back together. It's just filthy. I've got filth everywhere. Junk, filth, gross everywhere. That's some of the mess. All right, let me clean up a little bit, and then we'll lube up the front. We got a flat washer and one of these. I forget what they call them. I'm just not thinking of it. It's a spring washer. So the spring washer's got to go against the flat. It can't go this way. It has to go this way. And that's got to go against here. So this spring washer keeps everything nice and taut. We want to protect the shaft. We'll put a little bit of grease on that side. And a little bit of grease on that side. And same thing with this guy. You don't need a lot. And we're going to put a dollop of grease on these gears. It'll roll through. It'll coat. And some grease in the front. You can't get any grease in the back, really, because that's something I did last time. So we got some of that out. Make sure that goes in all the way. And then, of course, I cleaned up these two as well. I put a little chain wax on that. And we'll tighten these up in a minute. I'm going to go do the other side. You know, it's starting to get just worn. You can hear. See, now it's getting a little bit better as that goes through. But that sounds rough. So it needs more grease in it. Let's see what it looks like as we spin it around. And like I said, I put the chain wax in. Although the white lube will go in. Let's see. And it will dry. Try to get it in there as best as we can. And we'll wipe it. Let's spin it again. Getting better, but still not enough. That's as much grease as it's going to get. It is fairly sealed. Like I said, if you pack that plastic and put it on with grease, it will be sealed for a couple of years. And you got to get in under the gear and the pole because it's a ratchet, see? All right, let me finish up. That's as good as it's going to get. That one's better. That's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, that's much better. And then, of course, so where do I want to set it? Well, I want to suck up a lot of shit. So I'm going to go number 3. And that'll get me down pretty low. We got to do the front. So let me get to that. Well, like I said, this one's not that bad, but that one don't want to move. Yeah, they're on there good. Not too bad. These are weighted. I wonder what these cost. And we got our washer, and this one it's just the one spring washer. Well, that was stuck. Yeah, it's more rusty. Spring washer's getting a little tired. Hey, this one's not too bad, it's just mucky. But this one's gotten rusty and full of gack. And just a little bit of lube in there, same thing, and we'll finish up with some chain wax and a bit of grease on that. And then, of course, in here. Oh, that's jammed. Yeah, oh boy. All right, we got to loosen that up. All right, the other side definitely requires wire wheeling, but I'm going to do this side too. Holy cow, fellas, that was bad. All right, again, just a little bit of the chain lube, just so it rolls down in. Give it a minute to kind of get in there, and then we'll follow up with the wax. And I think this wheel's a little bent. You can't fix that here. We'd have to take it off. Yeah, she's up a little higher. She's hit. Not bad, though. All right, now we'll stiffen it up a little bit of wax. Let's roll it in, and I'll wipe it down. And then I'll let it dry a little bit while I'm working on the bearings. Let it drip. Yeah, that feels really good. Push the bearing race over a little. Let that roll in. Yeah, that was one of them that was not happy. Yeah, we're gonna need all new bearings. This one I did. This one's not too bad. Now we'll get the chain wax in there. And that'll help it to dry up, wax up a little bit so it's not so liquidy. It'll take a little while, but I do a little bit. Just want to wipe down a few areas on here. A couple of the spots a little thinner. Get some of the grease off a little bit more. I've been working at it, but we'll get a little bit more off. It's lubed. This is lubed. I got some chain wax in there as well. We'll put a little bit of, I'm cleaning up the hardware, but we'll get a little bit of grease in that. And we can clean up. So let me straighten up a little bit. We'll be back. All right, I got these rolling. I blew them out, so I got them rolling with my tranny sauce. And I blew them out. We'll wipe them up. We'll get some lube in there. So we'll start off again with chain lube and then chain wax. And we'll wipe it down. We'll put it together. It's going to come a day where I can't keep doing this. I'm going to have to replace these parts because they're old. And we could keep some of the old ones around to service, something that maybe is broken or whatever. Another machine occasionally, because some of the Hondas, a lot of this is the same. All right, we'll do the other side. It's just getting better. Better all the time. Yeah, that's nice. This is the one that was over here. It's still a little, but it's moving. So I like to put the front up a little, one notch higher. Well, we gotta put some glue on that. One notch higher. That way you got a little bit of a bigger mouth to ingest some more of the stuff. It also keeps you from certain areas when you go over it, scrubbing the ground, where you chop the grass when you're down low. So we were 1, 2, 3. So now we'll be here. We'll be at about 4. 1, 2, 3. And the other one was 3. We'll check that as we go, but high tack. And just kind of scoom that underneath there. See, it's starting to lift up. But now that it's clean and dry, good time to do it. And then as I go through, we'll stick it down. Do this now. Since it's late, I'm not going to be able to do anything outside, but I do want to run it. I think we will change the oil, fellas. Since we spilled some oil, yeah, this is getting beat. We got to put some lacquer thinner in here or something. Put a little bit more in. We can always wipe out the extra. That way we get a coating on it. All right, and we'll come back and tie it in. Yeah, I'll turn a little light on in a minute, but she's running a little rich, fellas. Yeah, turn the light on. Yeah, that's no good. We're going to put a little Tecron in and a little bit of fuel injector cleaner in the fuel. We'll do that in a bit. Well, let's have a little bit of fun. So I took 25 thousandths and I put it on. I cleaned up this plug. It's an E3. They're crappy plugs. But we used to run stuff like this in the hot rods. You got to go to tight gap. Now this is this made in USA, but it's crap. Tight gap because you have that spread there. So you go to tight gap to wherever you can get that gap tight. 25 thousandths would be good. But then the rest of it allows the gap to open up. So if you gap it too wide to start off with, it's not going to work. Now Honda has a good coil. So let's see, let's have some fun. Put some chain wax in all of this. And on here as well, because we want to make sure that if this ever gets seized, when they get seized, then usually it's over here. And then to get the top off, you have to pull the whole stud up, and boy, is it a real pain in the ass. And I told you I got here. I want to get a little chain lube on that. I put a little bit of my soy sauce in there, my tranny sauce in there. We're going to we'll spin it over so we can drive out whatever water might have gotten in. And also a little bit of chain lube in there. Yeah, this is the Dow Corning. It's silicone. Makes a nice moisture barrier, protects it. It's dielectric. That's what I got out of that plug hole. I just use a Q-tip. Alright, we're good. I got everything where I want it. Let's put the top back on. I think once it spins up, it'll be even better. But this is a slippery surface, kind of. And those wheels have got a bit of oil on them, but see? Backing up, no problem now. And then as it spins, the lube will work its way in. Now that's the best it's going to get. Let's test it. Let's warm it up. Sun's going down, but it's kind of warm, and at least the wind died down. Alright, let's give it a shot. I guess I gotta move you. Hold on. Alright, let's see. Choke on. Choke off, let it blow out all that oil and schmutz. Going through all the motions, all the speeds. It's warm enough. It's pretty hot. It's running good. Quiet, runs smooth. Yeah, that's not too bad. We did it not that long ago, but you know what? I'll put a good oil in it. I'll put my Cam 2 Super Pro Max 1030 in synthetic blend.
The next day.
All right, I got some Cam 2 Max synthetic blend. I put it in here because it makes it easier, and this way you don't overfill it. Tune up in a bottle. Let's try a little Tecron first. I'm not going to put much in, just a splash. Oh, that's a lot, fellas, especially for a little motor. So we're gonna. This is 93, fresh 93, and we're gonna run this through. I got some in there, so we're gonna top that off with this. And then this is our injector cleaner and fuel conditioner. It's a top lubricant, so. Oh, that should be plenty, huh? So we'll see what it looks like. I'll run it for the entire day. This won't be enough to get me through, even though there's some in the tank. So we'll run that through, keep topping off the machine. See how far I get today, and then I'll come back and some point tonight or maybe this week we'll check the plug when it cools down and I'm done with this, at least today's project. Yeah, it's a real mess. I picked up some of the pine cones and I got some bags and boxes and some of the walnuts. All right, let's give it a start. One pull. All right, let's get cutting. Oh yeah, that's packed. It's packed. Yeah, it's just packed solid. Hold on, I'm in your lane. Yeah, that's why I like this machine. It's the only thing that picks these stupid things up. You hear that crappy music? This is what I gotta listen to. Comes over the open space of the lake and everything. There's this bar in town. We got bags there. Big bag there. It's better. Enough for tonight. So I'll pull the plug soon and we'll take a peek and see what the plug looks like on that E3. But it ran great. Starts right up. And it's ready for the rest of the season. So the whole fall. As you can see, there's a lot of shit fell. But it definitely picked up a lot. Huge bags. This is heavy.
Day 3.
Alright, so I cleaned up the other day. We had another storm again. But there's still more coming down. There's some fuel in there still. So it did pretty good on gas. Let's pull the plug, bring the plug into the shop, put it up on the bench and take a peek at it. And then I can get back to work. Oh yeah. Definitely running better than it was. Yeah, and you can see there's a nice little, look at the color, that nice color on the outer electrode, the grounding electrode. Everything is running very good. So these plugs can be very beneficial in the right engine. All right, I'm going to put this back in and I got to get back to work. So far, so good.